Hey guys, what's up? This is me, Sean from Tetra.com. You can come to Sehinpete, and I have 3 devices here for you guys today. And what I'm going to be showing you guys here is the HTC Thunderbolt for Verizon. No, I'm just kidding. What I have here for you guys today is a brand new, not yet released HTC Sensation 4G for T-Mobile USA. This will be coming to T-Mobile USA June 15th. And it'll be dropping for $199.99 with a new 2-year contract on Tmobile USA. So this is the device. All 3 of these devices are dummy units. If you don't know what these are, this is the HTC Thunderbolt 4G for Verizon Wireless, HTC Sensation 4G for T-Mobile USA, and Motorola Defy for T-Mobile USA. So real quick, I'll just give you guys a screen comparison. This is 4.3 inches. This is 4.3 inches, and this happens to be a small 3.7 inch. But let me just take the Defy out of here real quick. Which, if you do notice, is that there's a bit of a difference when it comes down to the exact dimensions of the screen. So I'm going to line each at the bottom, and if you can see that, the HTC Sensation is a little bit of a taller screen. That's because it's QHD resolution, and this is WVGA, so a bit of a higher resolution screen here. This will be offering about 50 more pixels per inch compared to the WVGA displays on the Evo 4G, the Thunderbolt, and also the sort of new HTC Inspire 4G for Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T respectively. So you can see that the screens are going to be a little bit different. And this has about 200 pixels per inch, and this is about 250 pixels per inch. 300 is that ideal spot that Apple has gotten to, which is actually 326 pixels per inch. But 300 and above, if you hold this at least 12 inches from your face, you will not be able to discern the individual pixels. So a little bit shy of that, but it's getting there, and it's still a very high resolution screen. That also gives it a 16:9 screen resolution. So when you're trying to play videos, they'll be able to play in the full widescreen resolution. So that means that it'll be able to take up the full screen, and you won't get those little black bars at the top and the bottom of the screen like you do when you're watching videos on other devices. They have gotten smaller with WVGA. Just the other day, I was watching a Iron Man 2 on the Samsung Indulge 4G for Metro PCS with an HVGA screen, and there was very, very large size black bars. Then I've watched a movie on another 4.3 inch device, or on a 4.3 inch device with a WVGA screen, and the black bars were a lot smaller, but they're still noticeable. This is supposed to be able to take the black bars completely away, so that's going to be very nice. So now that I'm pretty much finished with this, I'll just run over the specs with you guys. So what you see at the top here is a speaker grill. This, I believe, is an LED notification indicator, and then you have some light and proximity sensors. Or, excuse me, this is the light and proximity sensor, and you have a LED notification indicator somewhere in the speaker grill. You also have a front-facing VGA 0.3 megapixel fixed focus camera in the front, which isn't the highest quality I've seen. I've seen up to 2 megapixels for a front-facing camera. You have HTC branding, T-Mobile branding, also at the top of it. And then you have your 4.3 inch QHD display. That's a quarter of full 1080p HD resolution. And that's, if I'm not mistaken, 3/4 of 720p. So very high resolution screen. If you were to put QHD on a smaller screen, maybe a 3.5 inch, you might be able to get to that Retina display resolution. Currently, the only other phone that has QHD is the Motorola Atrix 4G, which I'll show you guys real quick right here. See the Motorola Atrix. Well, and that's the only other phone currently in the United States sold by one of the major 4 carriers that has a QHD screen. The Evo 4G, Evo 3D that's coming out soon for T-Mobile, Sprint, is going to have that QHD display, and it's going to be near identical to the Sensation 4G. Beside it will have 2 5 megapixel cameras instead of one 8 megapixel camera, and it will be able to record in 3D and have a 3D screen with a parallax barrier on the screen for glassless 3D watching. Below that, you have 4 capacitive buttons. You have a home button, menu, back, and search. The screen is kind of contoured a little bit, not like this LG Optimus G2X that I have, or excuse me, LG G2X right here. You can see it's not like this because it'll actually curve sort of out as opposed to in, and it just is a very nice touch. I think it'll give a bit of a hassle if you're one of those people that like to use cut your own screen protectors, because you won't be able to get the full screen because they're kind of stiff and won't be able to bend around these curves. But there are curves on the screen, so when you lie it flat down like this, hopefully your display won't be able to be getting all scratched up like on a device with very little to no edge like this Thunderbolt here. You can see here it may be able to get scratched up very easily. On the left side you have a volume rocker, very thin, looks metallic sort of. You also have a micro USB port. What's special about this is this is MHL, which allows full 1080p HD video output, and I believe it also will be able to mirror the screen. Few new phones are coming out now with this technology as opposed to micro HDMI, such as the Samsung Galaxy S2 will have this MHL port, and you'll be able to use one cable to charge, sync, and also output the 1080p content, which is very nice to have. At the top of the device you have a 3.5mm headphone jack and a power lock button on the right side, which is very nice, especially if you're left-handed, whereas your index finger right here will be able to click on it very easily. And absolutely nothing on the right side, which is a bit disappointing. I would like to have seen a camera shutter button like you see on the MyTouch 4G slide, MyTouch 4G, and MyTouch 3G slide. You have a microphone and a back cover ejector at the bottom. It's a little sticking out point. You just press that down to get the back cover off. This whole back cover comes off, including this little front piece here, because it's a unibody design. So all of this back cover will come off, including this piece up here. And this is unibody construction, like I just mentioned. It's 3-tone. You have soft touch on the top and bottom, and in the middle is a piece of metal with HTC branding on it. You see HTC Sense also on the bottom here. All these holes on it, some of them are for microphone. I believe one microphone, because it does have does record stereo sound and have active noise cancellation, stereo sound when you're recording video. And the antenna system is actually built into the back cover, so I believe that these little holes are there to be able to get better reception and not have the antenna gate issue that you would be able to see and find on the iPhone 4, because I'm guessing this allows better communication with holes actually being placed strategically in the back cover. You have an 8-megapixel camera here, dual LED flash speaker row. This records 1080p video at 30 frames per second. There is a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor inside with an Adreno 220 GPU. Benchmarks have not been as high as the Samsung Galaxy S2, but looks can be deceiving in terms of benchmarks. And from what I've seen, the processor does perform very, very nicely in terms of just overall UI performance. There's a Bluetooth 2.0, Wi-Fi 802.11, A, B, G, and N, and you also have and you will also be able to have your FM radio, which is something that a lot of phones, even especially newer phones, don't have, and that's something that I tend to find myself using, even though you do have to have your headset packaged with it, or any 3.5mm headset attached to the device. So it's thinner than the HTC Thunderbolt by a lot. It's also a lot lighter than the Thunderbolt, and it's about the same length and definitely not as wide as the Thunderbolt. So overall, this looks to be HTC's flagship phone for 2010, as far as I can see, and I really look forward to getting my hands on a real live unit, seeing as this might become my future phone. So anyways, this is me, Sehinpete. Check it out at the time. You can contact Sehinpete, and this is my hands-on with the HTC